heard about neuro-linguistic programming? Of course you know, but we have the honor to be sharing all this knowledge and experience with the founder of this program, NLP. It's been spread around the world. It's very
everywhere nowadays. It's amazing. Yeah.
So it's Frank Pucelik with us. Thank you very much for being here with Body for Body in Balance.
Pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. This world we live in, how much of a jungle is it, Mr. Pucelik?
Well, it's not the same jungle I was running around in
Definitely.
in the middle 60s, but to me it's a jungle in the sense that there's a whole lot of people in this world who do not know how to think skillfully, who make incredibly difficult and bad decisions, and are in the process of damaging the world in very specific ways. And for me, that's very sad. The human race has done a lot of work to try and be skillful, effective, and how skillfully and how effectively people think is the key to the future of the human race, in my opinion. And I spend my time, now for 50 years, going around the world and attempting to teach people to think more skillfully, to think as members of the human community, to think as people involved on this spaceship Earth, which requires us to understand what our actions do and how our actions affect the world, because every action we take affects everybody else on the planet, whether we know it or not. Not a lot of people understand that, and a lot of people think they are individuals and that they can do whatever they want as long as it benefits them as an individual. As long as that kind of thinking continues, we will continue to damage the Earth, damage the ecological system, damage the psychological values of people, damage the governments, and damage the way people think about life on this planet.
So you want people to have consciousness, to have awareness of themselves as beings and as belonging.
Awareness of themselves as members of a race, as members of a community, as members of a species where every single action that each person takes affects everybody else. We are in a very fragile ecological system that's just incredible, just fantastic. When I drive down the road and I look at clouds, for me, I'm looking at God, because that cloud purifies our water, brings it back to us, nourishes our land, and allows us to live on this planet successfully. That environment that is around us is a gift to us.
It's a gift.
And it is the driving force what allows us to have life.
How do you work with people? I know that you work through explaining to them what words do to their system.
When I do a training program for NLP, my goal is to help people understand that the structures of their thought, the structures of their language have importance and have value. And that if you use a structure that damages your life, damages yourself, damages your personality, or damages other people, then that process of thinking is ineffective. That process of thinking is damaging the world and you. So we talk about what are the patterns, what are the processes of thinking, how do they work, what do they do? Because thinking is the key to life on the planet. What people need to understand when they learn NLP is this little trick that you use with your language. Wait a minute, it's not little. Yeah. It's very powerful. It creates everything that comes after it because of the assumption that you've made when you formed your first language. Okay? Language creates reality.
Yes.
So how I think is how I live. The words I use when I create language create my world. If I use a positive word or a negative word, which word I use tells me what to expect next, what to do next, what to think next, and so forth. So if I have a habit, accidental habit, that I learned as a child to think in negative terms and negative words, then I'm going to accidentally create a negative life.
Definitely, yes.
Okay? Not because I want a negative life, but because I simply don't know how to talk.
And you can't help it if you do it in this way.
No, I don't know how to think, I don't know how to talk, I don't understand what talking does, I don't understand what creating symbols does. Words are symbols.
Yes.
I don't understand what the power of them is, and so I do it the same way I learned from my parents. Oh. My parents were drunks, both of them. And they fought a lot. My mother beat me a lot. My dad ignored me for his entire life. And I learned to be a drunk and a loser. That's what they taught me. Not because they wanted to, because that's the only thing they know.
So how can we change this traumatic experience we had in childhood and create a better life for us?
Yeah.
It's a difficult subject.
2 or 3 things happened for me in a very lucky way. First, I went to the war to die. I was drafted, and I figured I'm the guy who dies in the war. Because I'm a loser, I'm drunk, and I'm raised by drunks, and I have a self-image below the bottom of your tennis shoes, and have no expectations whatsoever that I'm going to survive. The war destroyed me, but I was very lucky, because the war destroyed not only who I am, but it destroyed who I was as a kid.
Okay, I understand.
So all of the garbage and all of the crap.
It killed this person.
It killed
not you.
The kid.
Yeah.
And me. So here I am, I'm nothing. I'm an animal. I'm dangerous. I don't like the people around me, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? Okay? So for 10, 15 years, there was no help for me in America, none. And so I'm bouncing around, but I got very lucky because I met a crazy character called Richard Bandler, and then we ended up in a relationship with a crazy guy called John Grinder, and we started developing a system of, not psychotherapy, but a system of understanding how people that are really good at things do things. And we called it the study of excellence. Okay, including therapists, including mathematicians, including stage hypnotists, including whatever. Guys who drive tractors, what do they know? What are they doing? Because we understood at that point that how a person thinks is how a person lives.
Perfect.
You know, and so we go, okay, we want to develop some tools, some measurements that we can use to find out how people think. If that's the magic that creates life, if that's the secret, because there's a lot of people with a lot of information, a lot of intelligence, but that not all of them are great, only a few.
Yes.
What's the difference between the few that are incredible and everybody else?
Yeah,
it's how they think. And what we became aware of very quickly is that the people who were magic, they didn't know why they were magic. So if you ask them why they're magic, they make up ideas to tell you why they're magic, but those ideas aren't real. Those ideas are their ideas about magic. Why? Because they don't know what they actually do. They've learned it by trial and error, accidentally, over the period of 30, 40 years.
Yes.
They have no idea. If you drive a car, and you're driving a car and you're talking to somebody, and every time you move the wheel, you just save your life.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Well, how the hell do you do that? To explain that to somebody.
Subconscious. Huh?
Packaged behavioral stimulus response patterns. That's the unique ability of human beings. I learn a skill. When I first learn it, it's difficult. And
Yes,
oh
yes,
my
yes.
God, I don't know how to do this. But I do this for 6, 8 months, a year. And what happens is I build into myself at the unconscious, or you can call it subconscious if you want. We call it unconscious, doesn't matter.
Yes.
At the unconscious level, we build in
Right.
the ability to recognize certain things, cars, people, whatever, to make a systematic, skillful reaction to that, okay? And we learn to do that, and we learn to do that automatically without thinking about it. So wait a minute, so who's moving the wheel? Your unconscious, highly skillful, repetitive, learned stimulus response pattern. You make an observation, you make an adjustment because of that observation. That's a human skill, and that's special.
Do you see us humans having a better future or a worse future, knowing all that we're knowing?
I think the human race is going to destroy itself in the next 30, 40 years. If we can somehow have enough influence from enough people that somewhere in the next 20 to 30 years say, guys, enough. Enough internal combustion engines, enough burning coal for power, enough craziness with the political systems of God told me to kill everybody who doesn't call God the same name as I do. And all of the absolute insanity that is taking place right now. And then we spend the next 20, 30 years cleaning up the mess that we created, environmental. Then we have a chance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pucelik.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching. I hope you see all these great possibilities we have. We're here in Dolce Attica Riviera in Verona, next to an ancient temple of Diana, the goddess Diana.
Yeah,
she was
incredible.
the huntress and a very, very strong being. So thank you all for watching, and just remember, we have possibilities and we have the ability to move on.
It's up to you and me.